Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to the. It still feels off. The ABC 2 review series. F is for Fortune Cookie. I chose this because another YouTuber, Gub Tully Reviews, Gub, he did this, and I remember I watched his review. I want to watch this movie. Now I only watched this review once. Very important. So then I watched the movie now, some few weeks later, maybe a month, depending on when he uploaded it. I didn't watch it right when it uploaded, but because I think I was subscribed. Yeah, I did subscribe afterwards. This is one of the most confusing movies. So this is a Final Destination style movie. Final Destination style movie with fortune cookies predicting how our characters are going to die. There are 8 characters that are plagued by this, with one twist. And each one receives a different fortune, which they decided they should all be in Chinese and then flash to them throughout the movie, even though they're in Chinese, and people who don't speak or understand Chinese won't know what the hell it means. You're supposed to remember what the item is that corresponds with them, but to show a character, which is hard to figure out names to begin with, to show a character and it'll cut to that fortune cookie opening, and he's like, okay, which one was that now? Because it's not in English. How are you supposed to know? And as for stars, forget about it. The only star we have in this movie is the only Ryan Merriman as Bryce. I had to look down. These names are so. So our main characters are Bryce, who's a business guy who's trying to do business with Isabel, and her boyfriend is Josh, I think, and she runs this Chinese restaurant. But they don't eat at that Chinese restaurant, even though they're trying to do business with this guy. They decide everyone's going to go to a different Chinese restaurant and eat there. There's also Danny, who's one of the cooks. Sam, who's not really important to the plot. I was trying to write down names. I have this paper here. Trying to write down names. I wrote down Sammy. Sam's not the source. Sam is what? And I'm like, wait a minute. What does Sam have? And then they do a thing where they have this guy, Han Wu Li, who is the owner of this restaurant, read each of the things, and he says the name as it passes through each of the people. So it cuts each of the people. I don't know if the letters were in the movie. It was in his review, but the words, I mean. And I'm like, wait a minute, because I watched his review so I could understand, write down, because was very confused, and I had to keep running to the toilet during this. I'm having tummy issues, but anyway, maybe mine was stomach poisoning. I don't know. I'll find out. What was his thing? I didn't look back to see what his thing was. Hold on a minute. Sorry about that. I'm back. You didn't miss anything. I was missing some stuff. All right. I think I got everything ready to talk about this. So the movie starts. I'm assuming it's in China many, many years ago. And someone gets a black fortune that says candle. Though I don't know if it pops up on screen there or if maybe they say, I don't know. But It says candle, and this dude, the candle burns down the whole temple, is what it is. We get to present day 2016, which is when this movie comes out, right? And it's Isabel is trying to run this Chinese restaurant for some reason. Let me ask you this. When have you ever seen a Chinese restaurant not run by someone who is Chinese? I'll answer that. Never. Never. Never, never, ever, ever, ever has that happened. It's always a Chinese person, and you always have a hard time understanding them. But you try, because that's what you do. Because you're not an asshole, so you try to understand. You know? You be patient with it. That's what you do. But, you know, yeah, whatever. Americans are running a Chinese restaurant, sure. You have one Chinese person, Danny. But he doesn't speak Chinese. He's American. He's just of Chinese descent. His grandfather, played by the great James Hong. Yes, my man James Hong of Big Trouble in Little China. And several episodes of I'm in the Band, where he coined the line, "That's why I never eat bologna." Yeah. So, okay, this is confusing. So they're on the phone, right? And so, like I said, they own a Chinese restaurant. The whole thing is they want to... Bryce. I might call him Kevin. They want to sell Bryce on their Chinese food so he'll invest in the restaurant. So obviously, well, we're not ready here. So we're going to go to a different Chinese restaurant so that we can eat the food there. No, because here's why you don't do that, okay? You just took him to dinner at a different Chinese restaurant. He eats the food there. Then let's say none of this fortune cookie shit happens. The next day he comes over, eats your food. If your food is not as good as their food, he's not going to invest in your restaurant because you have taken him to a restaurant whose food is better, and he might just go over there and invest in theirs. So this is bad. But no, first of all, they're on the. We're gonna set it for 4. It's like, so Danny or whoever, I think it's Josh. Yeah, can we get a reservation for 4? Okay, yeah, I'll hold. He's talking. She's like, actually, can you make it for 6? No, it's a reservation for 6. Yeah, okay. So it's for 6. The reservation is for 6. So they get there, and they go, "Oh, reservation for 6?" She goes, "Actually, it's for 8." And they seat them. That's not how reservations work. You made a reservation for 6. You're not 8 people. Guess 2 people have to leave now, or you don't eat there. That's not how reservations work. They reserved you a table for 6. Not for 8, for 6. That's not how reservations work. I got it. Where's my itchy stick? Hold on. I'm back. So they set the table. For some reason, the waiter decides to give them these. I don't know, maybe because they're assholes at the table or something. I don't know. But it seems as Bryce is the only one that can pronounce things right. I don't know. But they all given these. And like I said, they're in Chinese. So they can't read them. So they have to ask Han Wu Li, who owns the place, to come over and read it. He reads these. Because the one guy's like, "Oh, these are supposed to be in English. These are with the ones from before." And like this, the other guy who is more Chinese, doesn't know what these are. I'm guessing it's more Chinese. So he reads them off. Josh has bamboo trunk. And like I said, I was going to the toilet, so I was trying to listen on what it was. I had to go back through watching his review for this. And when it says bamboo trunk, I'm like, the fuck does that have to do with how he died? It does, but very, very smallly. Very, very tiny has to do with it. Like, barely anything. Because you have to watch the retention of what it was. Bamboo trunk. Claire gets stone tablet Again, very little. Danny gets a fan. Also very little. Isabel gets a flute. Very, very, very little to do with her death. Bryce gets a crutch, which is a little more to do with his death. Sebastian gets a sword, that's the one that's right on. Kelly gets flowers, and that's a little bit closer, And then Bree gets lotus leaf. So there's what we got. And Bree, right away, chokes on what she's drinking and dies because nobody knows what the fuck to do. Isabel calls 911. Hey, our friend, she's choking. Did you try the Heimlich maneuver? All of a sudden, this bitch knows how to. Oh, you gotta put your hands. And then they try to do a tracheotomy on her throat. And that surprisingly, that doesn't work. And she dies. She dies. That's one. And automatically, Danny knows that something's wrong. But he has no time for that because he's trying to get laid now. So she was Kelly's roommate. Right? So Kelly doesn't want to go back to her place. So Danny says, hey, why don't you stay with me? I think it's a hotel room. But not really. It's his apartment. They're right next. Did they live in the same apartment building? No, because it's implied that Kelly... Oh! They're roommates! Okay, I did not catch that. Spoiler alert here for a little bit. After Kelly does die, he's got to go back and collect items. So he's got to get Bree's hat. And I'm watching this going, did they use the same apartment for them? Because it's the same building. And it's the same apartment. And I just clicked. They were roommates. Yes, it's the same apartment because it's roommates, you idiot. Oh, I was like, were they lazy enough to, because this is not a very well-made movie. Editing is horrible. We'll get you one scene in particular. The cuts to the transitions are just... There's one where it's a raw chicken and it cuts and it's a fried chicken or duck. Whatever it was. I don't know. So he goes to his grandfather, James Hong. And his grandfather explains what's going on. These are cursed from hell itself. And that Kelly... Well, we're not done yet, actually. So what happens is... So I'm guessing that Isabel and Josh live next door to Danny. Because you can hear Kelly crying through the wall. They wanted boobs in this movie, and they got boobs in this movie. Because he's like, okay, you can stay with me. I'll sleep on the floor, you can sleep on the bed. And I'm like, is it a hotel room? Does it have a couch? Because what I'm saying is, he goes back there later. So are they just hotel rooms? I'm not exactly sure, because there's no Wikipedia page on this. I'm fine by sitting my pants with this one. There's not even a synopsis on IMDb. Of course there's not. She's like, if there's anything you need, just let me know. And she immediately just starts making out with him. Not very well. The kissing is not very good in this. The kissing, trying to anyway. And she just takes her top off and they get in the bed. She throws her panties down. But the edit makes it look like they're his panties. Yeah, it's weird. Because he's messing with his underwear under the thing. And when he goes to dig it up, it cuts to her panties falling on the floor. And it's like, it makes it look like they're his. But they're not. They're hers. Because it's very important to the plot. They are. But before they can get smacking that ass, she starts breaking down and she cries. Which means they only did this scene to show tits in the film. Seriously. Because it's not even a sex scene. They just did it so we can get boobs in the film. That's it. And this is more gratuitous than the other boob scene we get. Because there's a meaning to that one, why this person's naked. Well, here, no. So, this is where Danny goes to talk to his grandfather. The other people are still oblivious to what's going on. And there's a weird edit. Like I said, editing is weird. Okay? So there's this Buddha statue that's in Sebastian and Claire's bathroom. He takes it, moves it, puts it out in the hallway in front of the door. She turns around to walk and trips over it. Still in the bathroom. And even she's like, I told you to move that. He goes, I did. I put it out in the hallway. Okay, so you're telling me the fortune cookie moved that back because stone tablet, which it's not a stone tablet, it's basically a doorstop. I have a rock that's used for the doorstop, but that's not a stone tablet. Like I said, these things are it's very loose with what kills them. It does. So, he's talking to his grandfather and he says, hey, his grandfather says, this girl, she is next. Do my James Hong impression. She is in grave danger. You need to bring to me items from each of them, and I will do a ritual. And we also need a blood sacrifice. They're like, what? A pig or goat will do. A pig and a fat pig. A fat pig. Wait till you see what this guy is going to use. It's just... We never get to the ritual, by the way. Which makes it better than It Chapter 2 because they did the ritual and it was never going to work. But here, we never find out it was going to work. And I guess it works out better here than it does there. And I don't know. This is 2016. This is before Chapter 1 came out. So, Danny shows up. I think it's before this, but Danny shows up after what happened to Bree. He's convinced that something is going on anyway. And I don't know if it's before this. I think it's before he talks to his grandfather. He says that they're all in danger of dying from whatever it does. And he's like, you stay away from swords. You stay away from... And tell Kevin, Bryce, to stay away from crutches or whatever. But... Bryce gets his ass kicked by an old man with crutches and his phone is taken. Maybe I don't know. But anyway, so in what is one of the most ridiculous things, and that's saying a lot for this movie. It is ridiculous. Okay, so we have a flower deliverer who's supposed to deliver to, is it 9? And as they're going in to deliver the flowers, the number, which is 6, which is Kelly and Bree's apartment, knocks down, so it says a 9. So he brings the flowers to that one. And if you're wondering, but wouldn't there be a card on it? Yeah, the card falls down, and this guy who is listening to headphones while delivering mail, that's not legal. Delivering stuff, he was driving with the headphones. That's not legal. You can't do that. Though I do question that. Like, you gotta have some sort of sound. You can have music playing in your car, but like headphones block out other sound, where in radio in the car doesn't. Whatever. So she gets the flowers. And like Final Destination, we get a distraction where she puts the thing down, it cracks a little bit, and water spills on her power strip. And I'm not being a euphemism, it's really a power strip, don't be... So, that starts the short circuit. She has no power from her hair dryer. Her hair's not wet, really, but anyway. But that's not what killed her. She didn't get electrocuted, no. A bee flies out of the flower, stings her in the eye. The eye puffs up, which is not physically possible. Then pops out of her face, and she just falls down. That's how she dies. How does someone die from that? Literally. I've looked at it. That's how she dies. How does someone die from her eye popping out? There are people that can survive with one freaking eye. How does she die from that? We didn't think. But no, she's dead. And we get Detective Dina Meyer here. Whose name I did not write down. I have her partner written down. And she's investigating. She sees, for some reason, the fortune is just laying on the floor. How did that happen? When did that happen? She sees it and automatically knows what's going on. But Danny, he's too late. He's too late, and he's told to get out. Get out. So now he's trying to tell everyone what's happened. And even though 2 people have died, nobody fucking believes them. And it makes me realize how many horror movies have done this. Where if you just believed in it, things would work out better. Though it's proven that it wouldn't work anyway. Because they do end up believing, and this feels the most, we have to be like Final Destination to make sure everyone dies cliche. The ending is still confusing to me. We'll get to it. We got a little bit left. We got a lot left. So they still don't believe him. You know, he's telling them. He calls Sebastian and says, "Hey, I need your key fob because we need to get the things." So they decided we need, and James Hong said they need all 8 items, even though 2 of them are now dead. They still need all 8 items. So they want Claire's locket. Danny is going to use his glasses because he was wearing them that day. Bryce's pen. Sebastian's key fob because he had it that night. They used Sebastian's pen to translate the words, write them down. He's going to use Kelly's panties that were left at his apartment. Which I'm assuming his apartment. And they're going to have Bree's hat. Locket, glasses, pen, key fob, panties, hat. And then there's Isabel's mirror and Josh's watch. Because he kept checking his watch. That's how they justify it. I don't know. That's 8 of them. And surprisingly, Sam is not one of them. He's just there. And he pops in from time to time. He's there for some of this, but not important enough, I don't think. So, surprisingly, Josh is the only one that believes him. Because you need this one person. So Josh believes him. So he calls Sebastian and is like, "Hey, we need your key fob. We need her." I looked right at panties. We need her locket. And we need to meet us here. He goes, meet me at this one bar. And he's like, no, it's time for drinking right now. He goes, "Dude, I have a game on. I want to watch the game. Just meet me there." She's like, "Fine, just bring the key fob and the locket." And he tries to take the locket. She's like, "No, you can't have the locket." So it's just, no, there's no locket. And he acts like he doesn't believe it. You know, he's going to take the locket. And so we kind of cut back and forth here because they're at the bar talking about the game. And I was confused at first because they showed this picture of whatever he ordered, beer or something. And when they put it there, there's this ominous music. Dun, 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 whatever. Ominous music that plays. And I'm like, oh no, the beer! Why did they play that? I then realized it's because there's a little plastic swab in the pitcher of beer. And wouldn't you know it, it goes in Sebastian's cup. So he takes a drink. And somehow, he doesn't feel it going into his mouth. And it ends up in his throat. He's choking on it. And he ends up spitting it up. No. 1, he'd see it in his drink. 2, he'd feel it in his mouth. Like a drink. Because it's this fucking long. That's not how it works. And all the blood in this is CGI blood, by the way. Terribly CGI blood. No. So now he believes, what are we going to do about Claire? Well, she decides she's got to take a bath. And she's still got the locket on. And she gets naked. We see the titties. And she does the thing where she puts the green stuff on her face with the cucumbers. And for some reason it has a whole bowl of cucumbers sitting next to her. Why? They do mention earlier that they need a plumber there to fix the pipes. Alright, so I've been talking about how they're supposed to die according to these things and how it doesn't always add up, okay? Lotus leaf. Bree choked on her drink. Her tea, Lotus, whatever it was. She choked on it. That's supposed to be what killed her. Flowers. A bee flew out of flowers and stung Kelly in the eye. Okay, that's adjacent. This stone tablet. The ceiling above her breaks open and a pipe impales her and kills her. What does that have to do with stone tablet? If concrete fell from above and landed on her head and smooshed her head, that's one thing. But a pipe falls through and that's not... Well, so she's dead. Now everyone believes, after this, Isabel's still a bitch. And they're trying to get Bryce in on this, and he still doesn't believe it. It's the next morning now, because Bryce is in his robe. And she's like, hey, we need your pen. He's like, oh, I need to get food, so I'm going to go get food, and then I'll stop by your restaurant. Okay. And he had an encounter with someone with crutches the day before. He still doesn't believe that crutches are anything. By the way, why does it take so long for this to happen? Crutches. Okay, he gets beat by this guy with crutches. No, that's not how he died. Dude chokes on a sword. That's not how he dies. It's just teasing us at this point. It's just teasing us. But, okay, are we there yet? Let's see where we at. I need to cross off who died so far. So I can... Alright. So next... So Bryce is on his way there. Some dude with crutches is trying to wash his car, and he doesn't want him to. So he gets to argue with the guy. He gets bumped by one car. He almost gets hit by a car and moves out of the way. As he's trying to run across the street, gets hit with another one, and he's sent to the hospital. So he's still fine. But the crutches caused him to do that, so something at the hospital is going to take him. Also, flute. Isabel keeps hearing a flute throughout this movie. Why does it keep popping up? This is the most, like a flute. A flute is supposed to cause her problems. But something is supernaturally putting a flute on a stereo, on her car radio. That's not, these are all supposed to be coincidentally, right? Something flops down as an accident. Something is haunting her with the flute. The flute is haunting her. And it's about here that the twist is revealed, because we see that Han Wu-Li, is sick throughout this film. He's coughing, which is never a good sign. And it turns out, because Grandpa calls and goes, Han Wu-Li is very sick. We think that your friend, she had choked, it was just an accident. And we think Han Wu-Li, they cut back the show's footage. When he put the fortune cookies down, he cracked one, which is the lotus leaf one. But isn't it lotus blossom? Lotus leaf one. So it affects him because he cracked it open. So now they need to get... Okay, so it's before this. So like I said, Danny does go back to the apartment. He breaks down the door. We get this. It's this short dude, short bald dude. I've seen a lot of things. I think he was in Scrubs, or something. He's the building manager, and he's having a conversation with Sam, while Danny is in there trying to get the hat. How'd the hat get back in the apartment? Because if she had the hat when she choked, unless Kelly had it and brought it back with her, doesn't make much sense. But why would Kelly put it away? Because Kelly got back. She just got back home. You think she would just have it sitting somewhere? Why would she put it away? I don't know. And while he's doing that, his glasses fall off. And he just leaves and says, I have to come back later and get my glasses. Which he does. Is that even in the movie? He gets his glasses back somehow. Right? Does he? I gotta look again. No, he never does go back for those glasses. Because the building manager guy comes in, he's able to go out. He leaves his glasses behind. He never goes back for them because other stuff happens. So, yeah, they find out that Kevin Bryce is in the hospital. So they go to see him. And he freaks out when he sees Crutches and is going headfirst into a metal tray thing. And that's how he dies. From his injuries and crashing into that, there's glass. I don't know. The crutches, he tripped over the crutches and fell into it. I don't know. Excuse me. Meanwhile, the detective reveals that she knows about this thing because her old partner, who I've called Detective Partner, because I don't remember his name, has dealt with this before. He and 3 others went to there. And they get fancier things. There was like Phoenix and stuff. His is Blue Dragon, which no one knows what that means. But he's been living basically like Clear Rivers in his house with no furniture. That's not safe. But he's been safe, I guess. And it's after this that he decides to leave. For some reason. Maybe he doesn't leave. He doesn't leave. He's in his house. They leave, right? So, they leave. And wouldn't you know, there's a drug dealer driving by, trying to smoke weed while driving. And wouldn't you know, this weed is called the Blue Dragon. It spills, he gets distracted, and drives through the man's apartment. Through the building, through the wall. That's not how that works. Cars can't go through walls. I guess you can, but if it's poorly made wall, I've seen it in Full House, that he's dead. Detective's dead. And I think that's actually before what happens to Bryce. Because after Bryce dies, she gets a phone call. And she's like, I have to go. My partner died. Don't go to the Black Dragon to get the teacup. Wait for me. Because that's when they find out, you know. So they're at the restaurant. So I think it's around here that she comes in. Whatever. So not listening to her, Josh and Sebastian go to the Black Dragon to get the teacup. Because they need it. Keep in mind, as we just talked about, they don't have Danny's glasses. No. Danny decides he needs to go get the pig. Live pig? He decides to get a slab of ribs. My man, you need the pig's blood for the goddamn sacrifice. And you think a slab of ribs is enough? He puts it into the bag, but he gets locked inside. And wouldn't you know it, what's inside a freezer? A fan! And he gets frozen. But Sam shows up to save him. He has hypothermia. And they're like, so he calls Isabel, and tells him what's going on. The 3 of them have gone, and they tell Isabel to stay in the car. So I thought, okay, she's going to die. No, it's far stupider than that. So they go in to get this teacup, and Han Wu Li's sons think, because I skipped the scene. Sebastian left after Claire died to go talk to Han Wu Li and saw that he was sick. They think when Sebastian was there, he poisoned him. He was sick before Sebastian got there! But no, this causes a fight scene that's poorly edited, and of course results in Sebastian getting stabbed through with a sword. All the other deaths have been accidents, but sure. And then one of them gets the head accidentally shot off. One of the Chinese guys, one of the guy's sons. And they're down to the other 2, who both crash through the table. From the car, Isabel can somehow hear this. She goes in, takes one look around, calls the detective and says, "Detective, they're all dead! They're all dead! Check for a pulse, woman! She thinks they're all dead. I'm at the Black Dragon, they're all dead." So she then freaks out. She freaks out, goes back to the Black Dragon. Oh, during this that Sam gets a phone call saying, "Oh, we have a vegetable delivery. I'm gonna go get that." No, you're supposed to watch him. And what is the most indirect way this could happen? So as he leaves, a bottle of oil falls on the floor. I can't even remember for the life of me why Danny is walking over to the side. But he does, but he walks over to the side where that is instead of the other side. He didn't know it fell, but he slips, falls, and his head gets deep fried. And then James Hong walks in and sees his nephew is dead. Or his grandson is dead. He's like, oh. Because he's come to do the ritual, but everything is gone. She took the bag. Wait. If he was coming to do the ritual, why did she take off with the bag? Doesn't matter now. She's taking off with the bag. And she's driving, I guess, to the restaurant, to where James Hong is supposed to be, but he's coming at the time. The flute music comes on. She crashes her car because she's distracted. She gets up, out of the car, runs, somehow teleports to a construction site. Yeah, I don't know. Where she trips, drops everything down the construction site. She's trying to get her little mirror. She gets it, gets back up, thing takes her head off. I'm like, oh, okay. The detective finally gets the voicemail that Isabel sent about how she's at the Black Dragon. She goes there just in time for the end of this movie. And I'm serious. So, Josh, who is not dead. Hold on, I gotta cross out these other two. And Sebastian. Josh, who is not dead, comes to. He wakes up the other Chinese guys. Like, come on, we gotta get out of here. Because during the fight, gunshot knocked open some gas. Knocked open. Hit a gas tank. It's coming out. We gotta go. It's so... The gas tank is so bad that the detective can smell it outside. She's like... I'm like... If it's that bad, they would be suffocating to death. If she could smell it from outside, that means it's filled the entire restaurant, which means they would suffocate on it. On the gas. Before they woke up. Whatever. So we gotta go. The guy starts arguing with him. No, we gotta get out of here. This is where the bamboo trunk falls. Hits something, causes the spark, the whole thing explodes. The detective goes flying, she's fine. And then we cut to some years later, a family of 4 is eating at a Chinese restaurant, and they're kind of asshole-ish. And they get the black fortunes. End of movie. I went, wait! What about Sam? You just left someone behind. And it's not till I watched Guptali's review that I realized Sam doesn't matter to the plot in the slightest. I was under the assumption while watching this that Sam was one of those affected by this. Right? There is still no conclusion to this movie. You wanted to copy Final Destination, but you couldn't give us a conclusion. I know, in the Final Destination movies, they all die. But here's the situation. You have set up this ritual that James Hong is going to do. But if it was never going to work, that's fine. But he never does it. And it's because they feel the need to have to get all 8 of the items for it to work. Because he says you have to get all 8 items from each person. 1 from each person. And I'm like, but if people are dying, can't we just do the ones that are still alive? Because what is it going to do for the people that died? At this point, 2 people are now dead. Right? And you still gotta convince them, whatever. Because, like, they have the other stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. Him going to get the hat of someone who's already dead caused him to lose his glasses, which is what he needs. And why does he lose his glasses when it never comes back? Right? He never goes back to get the glasses. That never comes back into the movie. At all. So why does he even lose the glasses? Because you think he's going to go back to get the glasses, the fan's going to fall on him. He never gets to that. It never happens. So why did he have to lose his glasses? And if he's losing his glasses that quick by running around, he needs new glasses because they're too loose. Or they need to get tightened or something. No. And that ending. The explosion, then we cut to a new people get into the... No, what is this? What is this? It's not an ending. I'm like, that's not really a conclusion. You want everyone to die. Cool. But don't set up this ritual that he's going to do. Like, I was assuming James Hong was going to die at some point. He's going to do the ritual. It's going to backfire. And one of those people, like, the sword's going to come out. And something out of the sword, or how about this? Instead of Han Wu Li, what if it's the grandfather who's supposed to get the lotus, right? What if he's the one that he's got lotus poisoning, and in the middle of the ritual, he croaks. Something happens that causes the sword to fall down and kill Sebastian. I don't know. But we never get to the ritual. And the fact that it has to be everyone kind of fucks it up, because he has to go get the hat, he loses his glasses. Not that it matters. So they can't do that. Why does he even have to go back later? Why can't he just run back in and say, hey, you know what? I wasn't here. It's my girlfriend's apartment. I left something there, and I dropped my glasses when I was going to get it. I'll just get it, and I'll leave. That's all he has to say. But no. Also, he broke down the door, yet the building manager still needed to unlock it for himself to get in. He broke the door down. The locks wouldn't work anymore. He did. He busted the door open, which is what the building manager was up. What was that? Then he had to put the key. No, the lock would be broken now. He would not. Oh, wrote this movie. You know what? I was convinced this was just not worth your time. But you know what? This movie can fry in hell. There's so much bullshit in this movie. So much. And the thing is, when I saw Guptari's review of this, I was like, this movie looks interesting. Haven't watched it myself, and haven't tried to connect the things. It just doesn't make any sense. And the funny thing is, I didn't think I paid enough attention to this movie to give a cohesive review. I figured this is going to be a short-ass review. We're going on 44 minutes now. Just over 43, actually. And I've been talking about this damn movie. So, fry in hell. We can fry in hell with the Mushu pork and the lo mein, which I love lo mein. It's delicious. No. Can fry in hell. Period. So what are your thoughts on Fortune Cookie? Don't have so much like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.